What's this? 2 cup of tea with me videos back to back of each other in 1 week? These are unprecedented circumstances. Is this the new normal? No, it's not. I just fancied having another cup of tea with me video, really. Yes, hello people of the internet, welcome back to my channel. And first up, how are you all doing? Let's have our regular check-in here. I'm pleased to say that I'm actually doing a lot better since the last time we talked. I've sort of come out of the dip in terms of the depression and everything, and I'm sort of on the way up again for the moment. Touch wood. This is mostly made of wood. I'm feeling pretty good at the moment, and I hope you all are as well. Ultimately, I do have tea still, so, you know, life can't be that bad. And also, before we get going with the subject of today's video, I'd just like to give a shout out to all the new subscribers around here. Hello! There's quite a lot of you. I'm well aware that in the last few months, for obvious reasons, I've not been uploading anywhere near as many videos at all, let alone of my usual content in terms of Main and Other Station Other Mile episodes. And yet, back at the start of June, we went past 500 subscribers on the channel, and the night before I'm filming this video, we just went past 600, and then I just checked about an hour before I started filming, we're now on 650. Editing Adam put in what the subscriber count is at time of editing the video, which will be, of course, closer to when it actually goes out. But, yeah, things are going pretty wild, and I'm pretty stunned by all of it. Probably what has helped a lot of that is yesterday, one Jeff Marshall, of all people, uploaded a new video, which was amazing, and it happened to be about the history of Thameslink, which is great. I was watching it, and then halfway through, I happened to notice in the description, if you want to watch more about this, check out AJ's video on the subject. That was my face when I realised I'd been shouted out by Jeff Marshall. So, hello, anyone who's checked me out from Jeff Marshall's channel, and you're like, who's this pleb then? Hi! So, oh, hang on. I think someone's at the door. Whew, sorry about that. Amazon delivery just arrived. Now, where were we? Thank you all so much, and if you're new around here, I hope you enjoy your stay. It's the best I can really say. With that, let's drink some more tea. There we go. And get on with the real subject of today's video, which is something I've been thinking a lot about lately, and I'm sure it's the case for many, many people, especially other train tubers, if you will. Well, I mean, just people in general, let's be honest. Everyone in general has had this conundrum on their minds. What conundrum's that? The essential travel conundrum. Now, what do I mean by this? Well, in this country, for the past few months, since lockdown started back in late March, pretty much the majority of the travel advice has been essential travel only, which is absolutely understandable. Do not go anywhere on public transport unless you absolutely have no choice. You have to go to work, basically. However, that travel advice seems to be being relaxed a little bit. I've noticed some of the train operating companies they've been preparing their stations and their trains and their services for running, you know, adapting to things like social distancing, and they've been prepping hand sanitizer at stations and things like that. Even putting more coaches on their trains so people can sit further apart. This week, some of the train operating companies have been mentioning about how travel advice is more focused around, if you have no choice, if you can complete your journey by any other way, do it. But if you do go on the train, then you have to wear a face mask, you have to have hand sanitizer, social distancing, everything else. You just have to travel safely. In fact, I checked the government advice before filming this video, and it was kind of along those lines. In fact, essential travel, that phrase only really came up when referring to places in local lockdown, like I believe Leicester's just gone back into a local lockdown for the moment. Even before the announcements this week, I've been really kind of driving myself up the wall with this conundrum, I'll be quite honest with you, because on the one hand, quite obviously, this is a travel vlogging and travel documentary channel. So obviously during lockdown, me making YouTube videos about railways and stuff, yeah, probably not counting as essential travel, because it wasn't like I had to go to work. My main work could be done at home. I'm very lucky to work at home as a freelancer, for the most part, although, you know, lockdown's affected that line of work as well, as has pretty much been the case for everyone. It doesn't matter what your line of work is, we've all been hit and affected quite a lot by the pandemic. I don't know anyone who really hasn't been affected by it. So quite apart from very obviously being a channel that puts out content relating directly to train and rail travel, the main thing about it for me is just the sheer cabin fever. It occurred to me the other day that I have not been outside of my hometown really, since probably mid-March. I've not really left the house that much, which is not healthy, and I know the first thing a lot of people are saying is you can go for walks. Yes, I do go for walks a lot, but there's only so far you can go, especially where the weather has been pretty awful. But I have been trying to go for walks as possible, but ultimately I still haven't left my town, and I don't live in the biggest town around. It's a fairly small town, kind of on the outskirts of Greater London. I have not left this town more than about 2 or 3 times, if that, since mid-March. And to say it's kind of getting to me is a bit like saying the Titanic was a rather large ship. And another thing to consider is that the advice about only travelling on the train if you don't have any other choice, well, technically I really don't. I don't have a car. I can walk, but not, I mean, there's only so far you can walk in a day, especially me, before I just end up passing out with exhaustion. I was considering getting a bike before, just as lockdown started, and then obviously everyone else had the same idea, so that they were just like vanished everywhere, except for the really expensive ones, which are out of my price range. But I don't have a car, so really, if I want to go anywhere beyond the current scene, beyond where I am, it kind of has to be, there's one London bus, there's a few local buses that run in my town, and there's the train. So basically, if the travel advice is only travel by train if you don't have any other option, well, I kind of don't have any other option. If I want to go anywhere beyond, you know, like a 2 or 3 mile radius of my town, that's kind of what I've got to do. And it obviously goes without saying, all of this goes without saying, that I already have face masks. I've already been wearing, even if I've had to go up, like today, I went to the post office and I wore a face mask. I'm just getting into that habit anyway. Even if you're going places where you don't need to wear them, I am wearing them anyway, just to be better safe than sorry, basically. I have hand sanitizer. I have little bottles of hand sanitizer, so I can keep one in my pocket at all times. And the funny thing is, the advice also says to avoid travelling at peak times if you can. I generally avoid that anyway, just because I really... it can really spike my anxiety if I suddenly get onto a really busy train, or if a train suddenly fills up very quickly. I just don't like busy times of the day. I don't like travelling at peak times anyway, so I'm used to finding creative ways and times to travel anyway, so none of those things are an issue for me. It's what I'd be normally doing. So, with all that in mind, like, how much of what I'm saying counts under the current government guidelines? Like, for example, I have no other choice but to travel, but is it essential enough? Can you travel for mental health reasons, to get you out the house, you can go see someone, travel and see a friend, and obviously you can stay 2 meters apart when you do that, because basically all of this is predicated by the flip side, the part that it's like sort of, it's not an angel and a devil on my shoulder, it's just 2 sides of me that just like to argue about everything. Probably one side is fueled a lot more by anxiety disorder, but we move. So the other side of the coin is fairly obvious. I don't want to be the sort of hypocrite who decries and criticises people for ramming into pubs or crowding onto trains and then piling onto Brighton Beach, or Bournemouth Beach, was it? Where there was the photos of just swarms, hundreds of people all massed on the beaches as soon as the sun came out for more than 5 minutes. I can't exactly decry that, and rightfully so. You kind of should, really. That was irresponsible behaviour. And then am I kind of contributing to that if I go travelling myself, if it's not for the most essential of reasons? I mean, does making YouTube videos count as essential? You could classify it as work for me. It's something I do. I am going out to make and produce something, produce content to go on the internet for it. Is that the case? Is that enough? And of course, you know, in amongst all of this, whenever you see the pictures of, you know, crowded places and everything, people are now saying a second wave is inevitable, a second wave's on the way. Do I even try and make plans when the looming spectre of a potential second wave and a second lockdown could be any day now? There's a lot going on. There's a lot going on in here, basically. It's not me catching the virus that I'm particularly concerned about. It could really make me feel terrible. It could do... who knows? I don't want to get it anyway. But it's not really me that I'm fussed about getting it. It's who I then pass it on to. Family, elderly relatives, friends. Who I don't want to then be the vessel to then pass it on to other people who it can hurt a hell of a lot more than it could hurt me. I don't want to end up being a hypocrite who ends up passing this thing on or getting it myself because I just wanted to get out. I just wanted to go somewhere else for a bit. But at the same time, is the current situation, is the current advice enough where what I'd be doing for travel, if I'm taking all the right precautions, and I absolutely plan to, like I say, I have face masks, I'm washing every time I use them, I have bottles of hand sanitizer, pocket ones I'd be taking with me. I do practice a hell of a lot of social distancing. When this all started, I isolated for a long time. Even the other people I live with in my house, I didn't even go near for a long time until it was very, very clear that none of us had the virus or anything, weren't showing any symptoms. I'm painfully aware of all the protocols and things to do and how damaging this could be. If it's possible, am I able to? It is basically what I'm asking, I guess, and I'm very curious to hear your thoughts on it. If I end up in the next few weeks or months going out again, or you see videos and content from me where I am out and about or out somewhere, I don't want any of you to go, hang on a minute, why are you doing that? That's just being selfish, you're being hypocritical. I don't want anyone to think that. And if I do travel again anytime soon, it is with the utmost care. It is with the utmost respect for the current protocols and the current rules. I'm not taking this lightly at all. This is just something that's been on my mind. I don't know the answer to this conundrum. If you're hoping to have an answer, I don't have one for you, but I just wanted to lay bare how I'm feeling in many ways and what I'm thinking about right now, and kind of get your thoughts on it as well. Like, where are you at with this conundrum? Because my head's kind of, it's a big sort of knotty mess up there, so I'm very curious to hear what you all have to say and think about it. And my camera's yelling at me to pack it up now, so with that, I'm going to finish this tea, which is nearly done. With that in mind, I'm probably going to brew myself up a fresh cup of tea and continue having a heckin' big think about this conundrum that we've talked about today. One last thing, I have, so far this week, been working on revamping my Patreon, which up until now was just around Another Station, Another Mile content. It was just for stuff on this channel. Now it's for basically everything I'm kind of doing at the moment, which includes my sister channel, AJ Also Sport. It's very simple. It is now just one tier, one small tier. It's one of those, you can just pay what you like. Nothing's going to be gated behind paywalls. Nothing really was gated behind paywalls anyway. And that's just it. If you want to pledge more a month, you can. If you don't want to, or you feel like you're not able to, that's absolutely fine. That's absolutely fine. None of it's mandatory. If you do want to consider supporting those and helping make those things happen, to say I would be grateful for that is a bit like saying the Titanic is a rather large boat. I would be exceptionally grateful. Thank you all for sticking with me, and thank you those of you who are new and just joining us for the ride. I hope you enjoy your stay. I hope you enjoy what I do. I finished my tea. Better go make a new one. I'll see you guys on the other side.